Right. Let me open the Oracle virtual box. Let me start the VM. So how many types of instances are there, guys? How many types of instances are there? So what are the naming conventions we can follow to install named instance? What are the naming conventions we'll follow, right, to install named instance?
It should be 16 characters and no numbers, only two special characters, dollar and underscore.
No. It shouldn't be 16, up to 16 characters.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And it will accept the numbers, but instance name has to start with the alphabets. Okay. You cannot start with the numbers. You can give numbers at any part of the name, but it shouldn't start with a number. It should start with alphabets.
Okay. But the special characters only two, right?
Right. So only dollar and underscore. Okay, you can add in the instance name other than dollar and underscore. You don't accept any special characters. Right. Okay. How many types of authentication modes are there?
Two types.
What are those
Three.
two types of Three. What are those three
Windows
types of authentication modes?
Windows and server authentication.
Someone said three, right? What are those three types of authentication modes?
Mixed, then mixed window. One is the window authentication, server authentication, and mixed authentication.
Oh, overall three, na? Okay. Have you seen that screen? Authentication mode
Yes.
screen. Okay, so can you see three modes there or two modes? Okay, two
There will
modes,
be
not three
yeah.
modes. Okay, so Windows is one authentication mode. Second one is mixed mode. Mixed mode contains Windows plus SQL authentication mode. Okay, there are two modes of authentication. One is Windows authentication mode. Second one is mixed mode. So mixed mode is nothing but Windows plus SQL authentication is called mixed mode authentication. Okay, not three. It's just two, Windows and mixed mode authentication. Right.
Yeah. Hi, Shanmugh. I just had one doubt. So now I just shut down the VM machine. So after that, I started it. It's given one pop-up over there. It's showing why did the computer shut down unexpectedly. So other unplanned or something else should I have to click over?
It's generally when you shut down unexpectedly, you will get that pop-up. Okay, you can cancel that one, no issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
That's why we'll select planned always, so it don't pop up if you choose planned option. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And how many instances we can install in a machine, guys? In a Windows server, how many instances we can install?
49 plus 150.
50 instances. Why we can install only one default instance in the machine?
Because that will be in computer name will get it automatically will detect it. So that will be the first one, and the second we can give the instance name as per our requirement, so as per our needs.
Okay, so generally when you allocate one name to any instance, you cannot reuse the same name for other instance. Okay,
Yes.
so default instance will take the computer name. So computer name cannot be duplicated. So that's why we can install only one default instance in the Windows machine. Okay, named instance you can give multiple instance names, right? 49 different instance names you can give. So 49 named instances you can give, you can install, but generally default is only one. The reason is name cannot be duplicated in the one Windows machine. Only one default instance we can install, guys. Okay, why I'm not getting the screen right. What is meant by service account? What is meant by service account?
User accounts.
No. Service accounts are user accounts only, but what is the definition of service account?
It is an account that will help to run the services.
Very good. Service account is an account which will help to run the service. Okay, so service account is responsible to read the data from the disk, write the data to the disk, guys. Okay, so it will log into the folders, it will log into the drives to read the data and write the data. So what and all default service accounts are there, guys? Types of default service accounts.
Local system, local service, network system.
Very good. Okay, so local system, local service, and network service. So if you don't want the default service accounts, we can use a custom service account. So we can create a separate account for the SQL server, and we can allocate that account as a service account to the SQL server. So that account is responsible to read the data and write the data to the disk, guys. Okay. Okay, what else we discussed yesterday? What and all components we have to install, specific components we have to install during installation. What specific components we have to choose during the installation, or specific features. Okay, fine. Okay, right. So let's discuss, guys. Let's continue the session. So now I'll show you, once you install the SQL server, what kind of services will be created in the Windows machine, what kind of folders will be created in the Windows machine. I'll show you, guys. Okay, once you install the SQL server, what kind of services and folders. Okay, so let's go with the services first. So I told you, right, if you install any software in the Windows machine, if you install any software, not only SQL server, if you install any software, generally, okay, services will be created for that particular software. Services will be created on behalf of that software. That services will be up and running. Okay, then only that software will work. Any software, even though it is a SQL server or Avast antivirus or Zoom or Teams, Microsoft Teams or Notepad, whatever applications are running, applications or softwares, both are same. Whatever applications are running, on behalf of these applications, in the back end, some services will run, guys. Okay, so then only the application will work properly. If the services are not running, the application won't work properly, guys. So for every software service, when you install that software, respective services will be installed, guys. So if you want to work with that software in the back end, that services has to be up and running. So when you install SQL server, okay, some services will be created, guys. Where we can see the services in the Windows machine. So either Windows laptop or Windows server, the shortcut is services.msc. Under services.msc, you can see all the services that are running in the Windows machine. You can see all the services that are running in the Windows machine. You can see in the services.msc screen. Okay, so you can see here lot of services are there. See how many services are there. All these services are responsible for other applications. Don't think only for SQL server. SQL server is also one part of the services, guys. Whatever service you install, whatever application you install in your laptop, for every application services will be up and running, then only the application will work. So when you install SQL server, some services will be installed, guys. Select any service and hit S, keyboard shortcut S. You can see all the services with starting with S. Okay, now if you see, you can see the services SQL. See how many services installed. When you install one copy of SQL server, see how many services installed, guys. 6 services are installed. When you install one copy of a SQL server, 6 services will be created. These 6 services should be up and running. Some of them are okay, that's fine. So we'll discuss one by one what it will do, what service will do, what kind of things and all. So when you install any SQL server generally, okay, when you install any SQL server, okay, so when you install one copy of SQL server, 6 services will be created, guys. So now if you install 2 copies of SQL server, how many services will be created?
6 only.
6 only. No extra services will be created.
For other instance, yes, other services will be created. 6 and 6 too.
How many? 6 plus 6 are?
Yes, Shan.
Okay. Fine. Listen carefully. So out of these services, generally we have like shared features, specific features, like specific services, shared services. Okay. So when you install SQL Server for the first time, you will get 6 services. When you install SQL Server for the first time, you will get 6 services. Okay. Out of these 6, some services are specific services, some services are shared services. What and all services are specific services? Okay, specific services are instance aware services. Instance aware services. Okay, so what and all features, what and all services are specific services or instance aware services? Your database engine is a specific service. Your database engine is a specific service. Your SQL Server agent service is a specific service. Okay, full text, one more service will be created. Full text service is a specific service. Apart from these things, SQL Server CEIP service will be created. Okay, this is your one more specific service. These are the 4 specific services will be created when you install SQL Server. Other than these 4, we'll also get 2 more extra services, that is your shared services. One is SQL Server browser service, okay, and SQL Server, what is that SQL Server? What is that service, guys? SQL Server Active Directory, na, or else let me check that one. Writer, yeah, VSS Writer. SQL Server VSS Writer service. Okay, SQL Server VSS Writer service. So these 2 are shared services, guys. These 2 are shared services. Shared services will exist once per Windows machine. Will exist once per Windows machine, not per SQL Server. Again, I am saying, how many instances you are going to install? We can install up to 50 instances, right? So only for the first instance you will get these 2 shared features, shared services. Whatever instances you are installing in future, like second instance, third instance, these are shared. Shared means shareable, right? If you are staying in a PG, generally will have specific things, shared things. Specific things means your laptop is your specific thing, your accessories is your specific thing. Can you tell me the shared things in the PG, guys? Shared things. Bed is a bed is not shared thing. Okay, washing machine is a shared thing. TV is a shared thing. Water purifier is a shared thing. Yes.
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi is a shared thing. So again, if new person came, they don't install one more washing machine, one more TV, one more Wi-Fi, right? You have to use the same, right? So like that, when you install SQL Server, these 2 shared services will be created for the first time. Next time, if you install second service, second instance, third instance, they have to use the same existing shared services only. So these services will create only one copy per the whole Windows machine, but these services will be created one copy for the whole SQL instance. If you install one instance, 4 specific services will be installed. If you install second instance, 4 plus 4, 8 specific services you can see. If you install third instance, 3 into 4, 12 specific services you can see. If you install 4 instances, 4 into 4, each instance you will get 4 specific. So 4 instances, 4 into 4, 16. Like that, if 20 instances you installed, how many total services I can see in that machine? Total services, including specific and shared. 20 instances you installed in that machine. How many total services you can see?
42.
How many?
For 10, you said, sir?
10. 20 instances you installed in that Windows machine. I hope everyone is good in mathematics, at least basic mathematics. 20 instances installed in the Windows machine. How many total
42.
services I can see?
44.
44.
44. Oh.
44. 22 na. Very basic mathematics, guys. Each instance will get 4 specific and 2 shared. Each
Sir,
instance
for my
will
answer is 42.
42.
20 into
Correct,
4
huh?
is 50 plus 4 shared.
4 shared.
Yeah, it's 42.
42. 42. Don't know whether I don't know mathematics or you don't know mathematics. I don't know.
Sir, there are 4 services, are the specific services, are 2 are shared, right? Is
Correct.
that right?
Correct. 2
So,
shared. Forget about these 2. These 2 will exist only once per Windows machine.
yeah,
Yes.
that's right. So that means if we're 20, that 20 times 4, that would be okay. That's the
80 plus 2.
80 plus.
Then
Yeah.
how come 22, 42, 45? It's not a jaldi, right?
Yeah. Mathematical mistake.
Right? So each instance will get 4 services. 20 instances, 20 into 4, 80 services, plus 2, 82 services. Okay? Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, guys? Specific
Yes,
and
sir.
shared services. Now tell me, I installed 29 instances. How many services I can see in my Windows machine?
60.
16.
6060.
6060. Any other answers, guys? Any other answers?
116.
060. Next.
116.
116. Next.
And if it's there is a
118.
shared services, then it should be a
118.
118.
Next. Any other answers, guys? Why 1, 2 people are talking? At least this is not a SQL set technical question. This is very simple, basic mathematical question. What about others?
118, sir.
118. At least you can use calculators and try, guys, please.
Sir, there are 29 you said this time, right? 29? Yeah, 118, 118.
Someone said 60. Who is that?
Yes, Shamak. Sorry, I doubled that. Instead
Why
of
you are
4,
doubling? Why you people are confusing, guys? Every time I am saying
No, I am
4
clear now.
copies, right?
I am clear now.
Okay, so 29 into 4, if you calculate it with your normal 30 into 4 you can calculate, which is 120, minus 4, which is 116, plus 2, 118. Total 118 services will be created, guys. So these are all the services that will be created. So out of this, generally when you install for the first time only, you will get 6 services. In that 6, 4 are specific and remaining 2 are shared. How to identify which one is specific, which one is shared? Again the same PG example. If you are staying in PG, generally how to identify the things belongs to you, guys? How to identify? Generally imagine you are using one plate, one glass. Okay, how to identify that one? People will have one mark, right? At least one blind mark will be there, or names will be there on that utensils that you are using, right? on your plate, on your glass, some names will be there, at least some blind mark, or else some mark you are going to put it just to identify that is yours, right? So in the same way, if you see name in the bracket, that is your specific feature. If you see name in the bracket, that is your specific service. If you don't see name on washing machine, you don't see any name. On TV, you don't see any name. Those are shared features. On Wi-Fi, you don't see any name. Those are shared, guys. So shared will exist only once per Windows machine. So that's why no name will be there. But for specific features will be in specific services will be there for four copies will be there, four services will be there for each instance. So again, if you install one more SQL server, again you will get this SQL server main service, again you can see agent service. So to avoid the confusion, so in the bracket names will be there. Okay, so this is the default instance. For a default instance, you can see MS SQL server name. For example, if it is a batch 49, let me show you in my local laptop. I have installed two instances. This is my local laptop, don't confuse again. So whatever I am showing you now, this is from my local laptop. I installed multiple instances in my local laptop. Okay, hit yes. You can see, okay, see how many instances I installed. This is one instance which is default MS SQL server. This is another instance, same service name is same, SQL server. But to avoid the confusion which instance this SQL server service belongs to, the instance name will be there in the brackets, B42 migration demo. Okay, agent service. So to avoid the confusion, this is default instance agent service, this is your named instance agent service. Full text, default instance full text, migration named instance full text service. CIP service, default instance CIP service and named instance here. But if you see here, browser is only one, VSS writer is only one. Even though I have two instances in this machine, in my local laptop, I can see only one browser service, and I can see only one VSS writer service. This is how you have to differentiate the named instance services and default instance services. Okay, clear guys? Right. So these are the services, guys. These are the services will be created when you install the SQL servers. What about folders? What kind of folders will be created when you install SQL server? Where I can see, go to this PC, go to C drive, go to program files. Whenever you are installing any software, one folder will be created with the name of the software in the C program files. In your local laptop also you can see. I am installing Zoom. In C program files, Zoom folder will be created. I am installing Microsoft Teams. In C program files, Microsoft Teams folder will be created. Like that, whatever applications you are installing in your laptop, a separate folder will be created for that particular software. So I installed SQL Server, so I can see Microsoft SQL Server. Open this folder, you can see some binaries and instance root directories. Okay, instance root directory. So this path is called instance root directory, guys. This path is called C program files Microsoft SQL Server. This path is called instance root directory. Okay, so if you see here, I can see various folders here. So these are all folders are important, guys. I installed SQL Server 2022. So I told you right during the discussion, during the initial discussion, SQL Server versions, build numbers, and beside you can see 110, 120, 130, 140 folders. So when I installed SQL Server 2022, I got 160 folders. So without checking that SQL instance, without connecting to the SQL instance, by just checking the numbering folder, I can tell which version we installed in that machine. I can tell what kind of instance we installed in that machine, whether it is a default instance or named instance. Okay, by just seeing this 160, we can easily tell like this is belongs to SQL Server 2022. 160 means 2022. Apart from this, some of the basic features will be there in the previous folder. So automatically 90, 80, 90 folders also will come. So don't confuse here, sir. If you see 80, so have we installed SQL Server 2000 here? 80 means SQL Server 2000, 90 means SQL Server 2005. We haven't installed those services, those instances. but still the binary, the basic features will be there in the 8090 folder. So 8090 folders will be copied when you install SQL Server, any version of the SQL Server, guys. So don't confuse here. As you can see, 8090 SQL Server 2000 or 2005 installed, no. So when you install any version of SQL Server, automatically 8090 folders will be created. That's how Microsoft designed its architecture, right? So in this folder you can see some software development kit like SDK files, like basic whatever supported files we need, all the supported files we can see in this folder. And this is the main folder. All the data and all will be stored in this folder, guys. MSSQL 16 dot MSSQL server. If you see MSSQL server, guys, it's a default instance. If you see MSSQL server anywhere, it will be a default instance. If it is a named instance, you can see the instance name. So let me open my local laptop, okay, C drive. Let me show you what and all folders are there in the local laptop C drive, okay, C drive. And if you see program files, Microsoft SQL Server, okay, and if you see here, see, one is default instance, second one is migration demo, second one, third one is don't think like, sir, I can see two default instances. No, it's not possible actually. So what happened is, like, I migrated this, I upgraded the default instance to latest version from 2017 to 2019. I upgraded, so that's why you can see two MSSQL servers folders. That doesn't mean I have two default instances in this machine. I can see only two instances, one default, one named instance. So when I upgraded, so this one came automatically. So that's why you can see these two MSSQL servers. Just generally only one MSSQL server will be there, guys, okay, which is a default instance. Okay, so this is how generally you can see the folders will be segregated. And if you go inside this instance binaries, sorry, this is your instance base directory, guys. Up to here we can call it as instance base directory. And if you go inside these folders, these are instance binaries. And if you go inside this naming folders and all, this is your instance root directory. And again, if you go inside MSSQL, there you can see different folders. There you can see all your data files, log files of all the databases. I'll explain what are those files, how to identify the files and all, we'll discuss, guys, okay, fine. So now these are the folders will be created when you install the respective SQL servers, right? Chalo, let's connect to the SQL server that we installed. Okay, so how to connect? Again, what people will do after installation of SSMS, again they'll open this setup file, guys. This is a setup file. You can see clearly this is a setup file. If you open this setup file, what you will get, you know, let me show you what option you will get it. So don't open this one. Once you install the SSMS successfully, no need to use this file. Okay, if you want to install again, then you can use this one. Otherwise, if you installed successfully, yesterday we installed SSMS successfully, right? So no need to open this one, but people will generally open this one. See, sir, I cannot see install button. I can see repair, uninstall, close button, sir. Sir, something went wrong. Nothing went wrong. Again, you opened SSMS setup file. That's it. You cannot open SSMS like this. Close this one. Okay, go to Windows. Okay, you can see Microsoft SQL Server tools. Okay, 19 means your SSMS version, guys. Sometimes they will ask what is your SSMS version also, they will ask sometimes. Yes, SSMS version, not SQL Server version. SSMS version generally 17 is there, SSMS 17, SSMS 18, SSMS 19 is there. You can tell any versions, guys. Okay, 17, 18, 19, you can tell any version. You can directly open SQL Server Management Studio by clicking this one, or else you can go to Microsoft SQL Server Tools. If you expand, you can see Management Studio like this also. You can open, guys. Just select this one. Or else there is a shortcut for this, for opening SSMS. Just hit the Windows button, type SSMS. Okay, just SSMS. If you type, you can see Management Studio, guys. You can see the Management Studio. Right, you can see here, right, when you type SSMS, SS means SQL Server Management Studio. Like this also you can open, you can use SSMS shortcut to open the Management Studio, guys. It is opening. So the current version you can see v19.0.2. Okay, you can tell like we are using SSMS 19, SSMS 17, like that you can tell. Right. Okay. So when you open SSMS again, SSMS is nothing but it's a client. So if you want to connect to the SQL server, if you want to connect to the SQL server, we should have one client. We should have one application. Using that application, I can connect to the SQL server. So in this case, Management Studio is client. Using this client application, I can connect to the running SQL servers, guys. If the SQL server is not running, I cannot connect. I'll get the error. Okay. If the SQL server is up and running, then only I can connect to the SQL server. How to verify SQL server is up and running or not? Go to services.msc. This is the main service, guys. This is the engine. Like this is the engine. Check whether the service is running or not here. If it is running, you are able to connect. If it is not running, you can see blank service like this, blank option. See here, for browser actually it is not running. You can see blank. You cannot see stopped and all. You can see blank option. So if it is not running, guys, especially this service is not running, okay, so you cannot connect. If it is running, then only you can connect. Right, minimize this one. Now here if you see, when you open SSMS, automatically you will get this pop-up. If you don't get this pop-up or suddenly you close it by mistake, still you can get this pop-up by clicking on this connect button. This is your connect button. Click on this connect button. You can see here. So to which component you want to connect? First option is database engine you want to connect, or analysis services you want to connect, reporting services you want to connect, integration services you want to connect, or Azure SSIS you want to connect. So as a DBS will always connect to database engine. Our work will be there on database engine only. So we have to connect to database engine only. So no need to choose anything here. No need to change here. Automatically database engine will be selected. Keep it as it is. Now instance name, server name I have to give, right? So in case if I am having multiple servers in this machine, I have to call the server, right? So using which object will call the server? Using server name. So you have to provide the server name. You have to provide the server name. Sir, we didn't give any name, so how come you can see the name here? What is this name, guys? Can anyone tell me what is this name?
Host name.
Host name.
Very good. This is a host name. How to check? Okay, you can check the computer name in two ways. One is go to this folder, go to properties. Okay, if you see here device name, what it is showing? PRJ17. See here, PRJ17, PRJ17, Win0C3 6B5TP, Win0C36 B5TPR, PRJ7, guys. This is your instance name. Otherwise, we have one more option which is command CMD, type host name, don't give any spaces. The same name you can see, either device name or host name, both are same name. Automatically it will pull the device name, guys. Type of authentication, let's go with Windows authentication. Next time during security concept I will show you SQL authentication. Okay, listen carefully. Yesterday while installing we have added this account. I don't know how many of you remember. Okay, we have added this account, right? So computer name /administrator. During installation I selected one option called add current user option in the security screen. So automatically it created this account with the sysadmin privileges. So now can I connect to the SQL server, guys? Can I connect? Right, if you click on connect button,
Yes.
so generally we can connect, guys. If you click on connect button, generally we can connect. This is how we'll connect to the instance, guys. This is how generally we are going to connect to the SQL server instance. So when you connect to the SQL server instance, this is your object explorer. Let me explain about SSMS. Okay, this is your object explorer section. This is your object explorer section. In this object explorer, you can able to explore the objects. Object means database is an object, server is an object, table is an object, index is an object, schema is an object. In RDBMS, everything will call it as an object only. Okay, so that's why we are going to explore, right? So we are going to explore what? Objects. So this is called object explorer. This is my instance name. I can see this is my instance build number. This is my login name. With which login you connected to the SQL server. If you go to security and logins list, you can see the same account. See, this account yesterday we added during the installation. That's why SQL server is allowing us to connect to the SQL to that instance. If there is no, if you are not part of this list, if you are not part of this list, it won't allow you. No matter who you are, even though you are a company CEO, even though you are paying the licensing fee, it won't allow you if you are not part of this list. Who are the part of this list? It will allow only those people. Even though you are a company security guard or CEO, if security guard is part of this list, he can connect. If CEO is not part of the list, he cannot connect. Don't check anything whether you are a security guard or a CEO. It will just check whether you are there or not. If there, I'll allow you. If not, I don't allow you. Okay, so now if you see, if you expand the databases, you can see some database options and all. You can see system databases, you can see. So you can see database snapshots and all. So these are the system databases. In case if you create any user databases, you can see user databases here, guys. Below to the database snapshots, you can see. Okay, so this is the security, giving permissions, creating logins, creating accounts, removing permissions. So everything will be done from the security section, guys. Okay, server objects, we have some server objects like endpoints, linked servers, and also we'll use some server objects and all. Replication is a feature. We'll discuss about the replication during the HADR classes. Always on is a feature. We'll discuss about always on during HADR classes. Management is a feature where we can enable the database mail feature, maintenance plans and all, and using this management we can do all these things, guys. Policy management, data collection, resource governor, extended events, maintenance plans, SQL server logs. Even SQL server logs also you can check it from the management option only. SQL server logs are very important. So we'll check the SQL server logs. Okay, in case of any issues are there. So to find out the root cause, we'll check the logs. Log is nothing but it is going to write everything to the particular file. Logging means what? It will write everything to that particular file, that is called login. It will write the errors, it will write the information messages, everything it will write to the log file. So that is called error log. Okay, so like this you can open the error log. Database mail feature and all will be discussed. So this comes under management. Integration services catalog, in case if you want to like use SSIS components, so for that we need an integration services catalog. So we have one more option. And agent is responsible for automation, like creating the backup jobs, restore jobs, like automating the things we can do using SQL server agent. So that is the responsible for SQL server agent, guys. Event profiler and also to track the things. Okay, so we will use this event profiler. So these are the main components of your SQL server, guys. Okay, so if you see here, so this is your connect button. You can connect like charger kind of symbol is there, right? So this is your connect button. If you want to disconnect, select the instance and disconnect. This is the disconnect button, guys. Connect, disconnect you can do any times, guys. No issues. Connect means You have some work, you will connect it. Once your work is completed, you are going to disconnect it. That's it. Okay, don't think if you disconnect the SQL server will be stopped. No issues, nothing. Again you can click on connect button, again you can click on connect, guys. This is your disconnect button, and this is your refresh button, guys. Okay, it's very important. Whatever you do, you have to refresh the server, otherwise it don't show you the new changes and all. Whatever you do, you are creating an object, you have to refresh immediately. You are deleting an object, you have to refresh immediately. To see the new changes, you have to refresh, guys. Okay, this is your policy health status and all. Health states, we can see the health state of that particular instance. This is like filtering if you are having multiple objects. Okay, if you are having multiple objects and all. Okay, so to filter the objects, generally will you see filter is enabled. So I can filter it, I can select this option, I can filter. I have multiple logins here, I want to filter one login only. Okay, which login I want to filter? SCA login. Okay, uh, right. Now click OK. See, out of all the logins I can see only one SCA login. It's a kind of, for example, if you are doing shopping, you want to buy one shirt. So when you open SGO, you can see lot of shirts. What you will do? You will filter it, right? You will filter based on the color, you will filter based on the size, you will filter based on the price, right? So when you filter, if you see earlier, if you see 10,000 pieces or items, when you apply filter, you can see 500 items or 1000 items. That doesn't mean the items are deleted. It is going to filter it and it is going to show you the items list, guys. If I want to remove the filter, remove the filter, I can see all logins again. Clear? Any questions, any doubts, please? Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Right. Okay, so now let's discuss about the management studio. So this is your object explorer, guys. Okay, you can see all the connected instances in this section. You can connect to multiple instances. So let me connect to other instance, guys. Okay, click on connect button, or else you can use this option also, connect database engine. Like this also you can connect. Okay, so now let me give one name. Okay, connect. See, I can see one more instance. Click connect. Let me give one more name, local. Okay, give local host. I can connect. Click again connect button, give local. Okay, I can still connect. Guys, how many instances I installed? How many
One.
instances I installed? One. But how I can see 4 instances here? I installed only one instance, right? But how can I see 4 instances here? I hope some of you know the answer.
We can
Login
add
name.
multiple instances.
Add multiple instances, but without having instances, how can we add?
We calling for different names.
See, when you can
Like-
see, if you have money, you can give it to me. If you don't have money, can you give it to me? I installed only one instance, but how come these instances came? Is it clear, guys?
Yes, as Herman said, we are calling with different names.
Correct. Okay, so these are the different names of the same instance. You might have multiple names. I have multiple names. Okay, different names. My friends will call me with a different name. My parents will call me with a different name. My legal name is different. Okay, so they are calling me only at the end of the day. I have 3 names. Okay, in the same way, default instance will have multiple names. Dot is a computer name. If you give dot, just dot, dot reflects the computer name, guys. In Windows terminology, dot is nothing but host name. So without giving computer name, full computer name, you can simply give dot. It will also see instance is same, guys. Don't think 4 instances means 4 different instances. No, all instances are same, but you just used a different name to connect to that instance. Dot is nothing but a computer name in the Windows architecture. Local host means it is itself saying local host means host means that particular computer name. Local is also nothing but your computer name. All are calling your computer name only. So these are the different names of your default instance. So don't worry if you are if your colleagues connected with any either of these names, don't ask them where is the instance name, why you are giving dot and all. It's very basic thing, you cannot ask. It doesn't mean every genuine employee know this option, but when you are working with your colleagues, some of them are going to use these kind of techniques to connect to the instance. Sorry. Right, so they can give different names and all to connect, so you cannot go back to them and hey what name you gave, how you are connecting using these names and all. These are the different names of your default instance, not named instance. Okay, fine. So now you can say I have only one instance, I connected using different names, I can disconnect all the instances. Right, so now this is an object explorer, right? So if you want to like open the scripts and all, you can just use this file option. If you want to explore the scripts and all, you can use this file open option. And if you want any new project, new file, new query window, you can use this option. So you can have multiple options like same in case if you have multiple scripts of lines and all, multiple lines of script, if you want to go to any particular line, you can go to this, you can use this go to option, you can find and replace any options in that particular script. We can use object explorer. Okay, so same in case if you miss the object explorer here, if someone closes the object explorer, then you can just use this option, view option, you can select object explorer, or else keyboard shortcut you can use F8. Object explorer details will discuss. Okay, like that in case if you want any extra features like registered servers and all, so you can use registered server. Someone asked, sir, I want to know the queries, I cannot remember all the queries, I want to know the queries. So we can use template explorer. So template explorer will give you queries for each and everything, guys. Okay, if you want to create a database, if you want to create a login, okay, whatever, if you want to take the backup, you can just simply double click on it. So automatically you can see the sample script, you can edit the script according to your requirements and all. Okay, this is the sample script for taking backups. Okay, so that is your template explorer. Like that you can see multiple options, those options will be discussed slowly. And don't think we will only use all the options, no, this is for developers and SQL DBS also. Developers will use few options, DBS will use few options, guys. Okay, right, so you can adjust this window. Okay, you can just adjust like this, fine. So now SSMS installation, SSMS Management Studio. Let's discuss something about Management Studio, guys. So this Management Studio was introduced from SQL Server 2005. From SQL Server 2005 onwards, Management Studio is introduced, guys. Before 2005, we have SQL Server 2000, right? So what tool we used to connect to SQL Server 2005? 2000. Can anyone tell me the answer?
Maybe any command line interface.
Command line is one option. We have, before Management Studio, we have a tool called Query Analyzer. Okay, so earlier, like only for this SQL 2000, we used this tool, Query Analyzer. So if you are trying to connect to SQL Server 2000, you cannot see, I can connect any of my instances in any of my Management Studios. It doesn't mean if you install SQL 2000, I can use only SQL 2000 Query Analyzer to connect to my instance. Or if you install 2005, I have to use 2005 SSMS only, not like that. If you install SSMS in any version of SQL Server, you can connect in the Management Studio, guys. Okay, so let me tell you some challenges with the Management Studio. For example, you installed SQL Server 2005 SSMS. Listen carefully, very simple, 2005 SSMS, and you are trying to connect SQL Server 2012 in that SSMS. Can I connect? In the 2005 SSMS, can I connect SQL Server 2012? Guess it, guys. Guess it. No issues.
No.
Connect, sir. Connect.
We can
no.
connect.
We can connect.
Very good. Okay. Or
Yes.
else SQL 2019 can we connect, or 2022 can we connect?
No, no.
We cannot
No.
connect. SQL 2022 we cannot connect. Okay. So listen carefully. SSMS will allow you to connect any version of the SQL Server. Okay. So the answer is yes. Even though that is 2005 SSMS, you can still connect the latest version of SQL Server also. There is no doubt about it. We can connect. But what is the challenge? See, if you see here, always on feature has been introduced from SQL Server 2012, guys. Up to 2012, there is no always on feature. It's an excellent feature. We'll discuss in the HADR classes. So the challenge is here you can connect the SQL Server 2022 in 2005 SSMS, but whatever new features are there after 2005, whatever new features are there, those new features you cannot see in 2005 SSMS. Is it clear? You can still connect 2022 higher version SQL Server, you can connect in the lower version SSMS, but whatever higher version features are there, that it won't show you in the lower version SSMS. So even though you connected SQL Server 2022 in the 2005 SSMS, you cannot see always on feature, you cannot see some extra features like that, you cannot see, guys. You cannot see. Why? Because these are the new features. These introduced from after 2005. So whatever new features are there after 2005 SSMS, those new features you cannot see in 2005 SSMS. Is it clear or not? Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
So you can still connect higher version SQL Server in the lower version Management Studio, but higher version features you cannot see in the lower version Management Studio. Vice versa. SQL Server 2005, SQL Server 2000, SSMS 19. Can we connect, guys? Can I connect SQL Server 2000 in SSMS 19? Guess it. Again guess it. No problem. Inky, Pinky, Ponky also fine.
Connect பண்ணலாம்.
We can connect.
Yes.
Arishil, hi, good morning. Just 1 minute, guys. Right, sorry guys, sorry for the break. Right, okay. So you can connect, you can use your SSMS to connect any version of SQL Server, guys. You can connect any version of SQL Server in any version of SSMS. But the challenge is, okay, if SSMS is lower version, you cannot see higher version features in the SSMS. The same example, you can connect to 2022 in 2005 SSMS, but you cannot see the always on feature. Why? Because it was introduced in 2012. So if you use 2012 or more SSMS, then you can see this feature. Otherwise, you cannot see this feature. So don't think like, for sometimes you will experience these kind of issues. Whatever SSMS, if you type SSMS, guys, can I install multiple SSMS in the same machine? Can I install multiple SSMS of different versions in the same machine?
Yes, we can.
Tell me guys, yes or no?
Yes, Shanmugh.
Only one voice I can listen. What about others? Okay. So yes, no, Dharani, no, yes, Vaibhav, yes, Kishore, yes, okay, fine. Chanakya, yes. Okay, so the answer is yes, guys. You can install multiple versions of SSMS. So when you type SSMS, so this kind of issues you will face, guys. When you type SSMS, other version SSMS also will come. So in the lower version SSMS, you will connect to higher version SQL Server. Then you will worry. You cannot see always on feature. You will worry where is the always on feature and all. You will check the build number is, it is showing 16.0 or 15.0, but you cannot see always on. What might be the reason? You cannot see the new features. What might be the reason? The reason is you are using the lower version SSMS. That's why it is not allowing you to see the higher version features. Okay, this is very important, guys. So apart from this tool, when you install SQL Server, 1 minute, just 1 minute, guys. Just a minute. Right, okay, right. So you can install any version of SSMS in the laptop, guys. Multiple versions of SSMS also you can install, but before opening any SSMS, check which version of SSMS you are using. Okay, that is one thing. Next thing is you will get one more extra tool when you install SQL Server. You will get one more extra tool called Configuration Manager. Configuration Manager. If you go to SQL Server 2022, when you install SQL Server version, so with that version, one folder will be created in your start. Okay, so you can see if you expand SQL Server 2022, you can see one tool called Configuration Manager, SQL Server Configuration Manager. In that Configuration Manager, you can see all the only SQL related services you can see. In the services.ms, you can see all the services, right? Your Windows service, all your other application services and all. But Configuration Manager is especially for SQL Server. You can see only SQL related services in this Configuration Manager. Okay, you can see only SQL Server services in the Configuration Manager. And if you want to change the protocols and all, okay, you can use Configuration Manager to change the protocols. Okay, so like generally when you install SQL Server, okay, when you install SQL Server, generally protocols will be created, guys. 3 protocols will be created: shared memory, named pipes, TCP, IP and all. See, these protocols will be created. So they will ask you one question, guys. This is an important interview question. What is the default port number for SQL Server? Default port number. Port is nothing but it's one component. It will help you to listen the communication. Port, P-O-R-T, port. So like it's a kind of a door number, like how we are having a door number. everyone will have door number, right? Every house will have a door number, right? So from that door number you can listen the outside communication, right? Using the door you can listen the outside communication and all. So if you open the door, then you can listen the outside communication. If you close the door, you cannot listen the outside communication. So port is also same. In Windows machine is a colony. Imagine Windows machine is a colony. In that SQL server is one house. So if you want to talk to the SQL server house, port should be there. That port is nothing but your default port. So when you install SQL server, so default port you can see that is your 1433. Every port will have port number like a door. Okay, every application will use port, guys. Generally we don't discuss about other applications, but every application will listen the connections from other application, from other requester. So which path it will use? It will use one fixed path. That path is called port. So using that port you can listen the communications, guys. Okay, so SQL server also will use one port to listen the communications from other applications. That port is called your default port, which is 1433. Where I can see, go to TCP IP properties, go to IP addresses, go down, see 1433 is the default port number. Can I change the port number, guys? Can I change the port number? Interview question. Interview
No.
question generally,
No.
what is the default port number of SQL server? That is one interview question. Second one will be, thank you, Nana. Second one will be, can we change the default port? Nice. Can we change the default port, right? No, no, no. So the answer is yes, guys. We can change the default port number. We can change the port number at any time. But it's a downtime activity. You have to restart the SQL server. After changing the port, you have to restart the SQL server. Okay? Clear, guys? Right. Any questions, any doubts here?
Sir, what are the other, like this TCP IP is the port, the other like the named?
This is also same
File.
only. Okay, shared memory. See, this is like a if you people are in the same house, will use shared memory. If you people are in the same building, same building, okay, will use named pipes port. If you people are outside you want to communicate, okay, to another house. Say for example, if both are in same room, will use shared memory to communicate. If both are in, if you and me are in the same building, you are on the first floor, I am in the second floor, same building, means we'll use named pipes. From outside the world, people wants to connect from other server, from third server, from another laptop, people wants to connect, then we'll use TCP IP. If TCP IP is disabled, people cannot connect from the outside. I cannot connect from my SSMS, from my local SSMS. I cannot connect, users cannot connect from their local SSMS and all. If they want to connect, why? Because server is somewhere and their client is somewhere. So server installed in one machine, client installed in some other machine. Okay, client installed in some other machine. So both are different machines, and server is in US, client is in UK, or client is in India, like SSMS is in India. So if you want to connect to that instance, US instance, this TCP IP should be enabled. For remote connections, TCP IP is the very important port. If you don't enable TCP IP, people cannot connect from the other clients and all, other management studios. Okay?
Yes, great.
Yeah. So that is all about your configuration manager. Sometimes we'll use configuration manager also to restart the services, to stop the services, to start the services. You can see here, this is your stop button, this is your pause button, this is your stop button. Like this also you can do. Right click also stop you can do. Again you can start. If anyone is asking us to restart the SQL server, go to services.msc. You can right click and restart the SQL server, or go to configuration manager. You can right click on the SQL server main service and you can restart the SQL server service. Okay, either of the way you can do that. Okay, so using configuration manager also I can restart the SQL server, or I can stop the SQL server. Using my services.msc also I can start the SQL server, guys. Clear? Huh? Right. So now let's start the queries, guys. Small queries will start. Okay, so before starting the queries, okay, now I want to create one table, guys. Simple table. I want to create one simple table. Why? Because I told you, right, in SQL server every information will be stored in the form of tables only. Even SQL server related internal information also will be stored in the form of tables only. It don't know any other format. It know only table format. So everything will be stored in the tables. So I want to create one table called employee table. Okay, I want to create a table called employee table. Employee table I want to create. So where this table will be stored, guys? Where this table will be stored? In the database. Where this table will be stored? In the database. So let's discuss about the database first. Okay, so let's discuss about the physical hierarchy of the SQL server, logical hierarchy of the SQL server. Let's discuss. Okay, very simple, guys. Means when you are creating any object, how the object will be stored physically, how the object will be stored logically, will be discussed, guys. Okay, right. So SQL server logical hierarchy. So generally if you go to any organization, hierarchy will be there, team hierarchy will be there. Like on top, manager will be there, or director will be there, or VP vice president will be there, or CEO will be there on top. It's a kind of a tree on top, CEO, and then vice presidents. If you go down, directors, if you go down, managers, if you go down, leads, if you go down, senior associates, if you go down, associates. This is the hierarchy, right? This is how generally hierarchies will be there, guys. In the interview they will ask you hierarchy also, your team hierarchy. Can you tell me team hierarchy? So to whom you are going to report, to check whether you are a genuine candidate or a fake candidate, they will ask this question, guys. Can you tell me team hierarchy? To whom you are going to report? What is his name? What is your reporting manager name? And about to your reporting manager, who will be there, like director or vice president? They will ask these questions also. Whatever we are discussing, whatever I am telling, guys, in the class, every point is an interview question. Okay, right. Again, there will be no separate session to discuss interview questions and all. During that during the topic, I'll tell you this is the interview question. That's it. If you want, you can write down separately. Okay. Logical hierarchy. Generally, SQL server will be on top. Inside, if you go inside the SQL server, okay, if you go inside the SQL server, databases will be there. If you go inside the SQL server, databases will be there. If you go inside the databases, schemas will be there. Schema is nothing but a container. If you go inside schema, tables will be there. Okay, so now if I want to create a table, first of all I should have a schema. If I want to create a schema, then I should have a database. If I want to create a database, I should have SQL server. So I have SQL server now. So if I want to create a table, what I have to create, guys? First,
Database.
database I have to create. Then schemas. Then finally your table will be, we can create the table. This is your logical hierarchy. Physical hierarchy. Listen carefully. Okay, physical hierarchy. So your SQL server will be there on top. If you go inside the SQL server, again databases will be there. How databases will be organized, guys? Database is nothing but collection of two files. Database is nothing but collection of two files. One is data file, second one is log file. Without having these two files, you cannot create database, guys. Means when you create a database, automatically two files will be created. One is data file, a second one is log file. I'll tell you the importance of data file and log file in coming classes. So these files generally the files will be created in the file group. So inside the database, what we will have, guys? File groups. Inside the file groups, we will have files, your data files and log files. Inside your files, you will have your extents. Inside your extents, you will have your pages. So if you go inside the SQL server physically, this is the hierarchy. So page means what? A basic storage unit of a SQL server. Basic storage unit of a SQL server. Basic storage unit of a table. So when you are creating any table, employee table you are creating, SQL server will allocate one page for you. Hey DBA, use this page to create your employee table. Okay, so a page will be created, guys, and if you see here, if you go inside this SQL server, if you go inside, I can see 4 system databases, right? Master, model, MSDB, TempDB, I can see. If you go the path, physical path, if you go inside this and if you go inside the data folder, you can see here. For master data file, database, master data file, master log file. For model database, model data file, model sorry. Right. Okay. So for model, you can see model. Forget about model MSDB. These are different extra files that you can see in SQL Server 2022. Forget about these things. For model database, you can see model data file and you can see model log file. For MSDB, you can see MSDB data file, MSDB log file. For TempDB, you can see TempDB data file, TempDB log file. So when you create any database, by default, two files will come. One is data file, second one is log file. This is pakka mandatory. Without any file, either data file or log file, you cannot create a database. Okay, clear, guys? If you go inside these files, you cannot open. If you double click on it, if you are trying to open, the file will be corrupted, guys. It's not a notepad or word document to open this file. You don't dare to open this file. Files will be corrupted. If the files are corrupted, database will be corrupted. If the database is corrupted, application will be down. Okay, be very sure that don't ever open these files. Double click on this file, you will get this option. Okay, you are attempting to open a file type system file. These files are used by the operating system and by various programs. Editing or modifying them could damage your system. Okay, so don't try to open this data files and log files. I want to see pages, I want to see extents. No, you cannot see with your naked eye. Up to here you can see the file structure. So if you go inside these files, okay, you can see extents. Your data files will be, okay, your data files, guys, not log file. Your data file, if you go inside the log file, your data files will be separated as extents. It will be divided into number of extents. If you go inside the extents, you can see pages. So page is nothing but basic storage unit of a SQL server. Means whenever you are creating any table, SQL server will allocate one page for you, guys. What is the size of the page? Can anyone tell me?
8 KB,
8
no?
KB. Okay, the page size is 8 KB, guys. The page size is 8 kilobytes. Okay, so if you cannot accommodate the employee table on a single page, SQL Server will give you one more page for you. If table is increasing, if records are increasing, SQL Server will keep on adding 8 KB, 8 KB, 8 KB, 8 KB, like that. It will keep on adding. It will keep on adding the pages. So the pages will increase. So the file will grow, guys. Is it clear how the files will grow? When you keep on inserting the records, if one page is not sufficient, SQL Server will allocate second page, third page, fourth page, fifth, sixth, seventh, like that. It will keep on allocating the pages from your storage. Okay, so the file size, your log file and data file size, data file, especially a data file. Log file, there is no file structure, guys. This is all about your data files only. Log file structure is different. I'll explain. Log file structure is different. I'll explain, guys, but this is your data file structure. If you go inside data files, extents will be there. If you go inside the extents, pages will be there. Okay, so page is nothing but the basic storage unit of a SQL Server. Whenever you are creating any table, automatically at the end of the day, that table will sits on your page. Okay, if the table is not sufficient, if the page is not sufficient, if you keep on inserting records, then SQL Server will keep on allocating 8 KB pages. Okay, right. Take a break, come back after 15 minutes, 8:45 we can connect, and we'll discuss about other things. Okay, about extents and all we'll discuss. Right. Okay, so page is nothing but a basic storage unit of SQL Server, guys, can you hear me?
Yes, Anna.
Okay, done. So page is nothing but a basic storage of SQL Server, guys. Okay, fine. Right. So I told you, right, tables can be small, tables can be big. In case if you keep on inserting the records, table size will increase. How it is going to increase, guys? Every time if the page is not sufficient, SQL Server will keep on adding the pages and all. From where it will add the pages? From where it will add the pages? Okay?
Memory.
From your no. Memory is different. Okay, not memory. Storage. Okay, storage. So your extent will supply pages to the table, guys. What extents will do? Extents will supply the pages. It's going to keep on adding 8 KB, 8 KB, 8 KB, right? From where it will add, guys? Who will add 8 KB, 8 KB, 8 KB? Your extents will add 8 KB, 8 KB, 8 KB. So extents will supply the pages, guys. That page will be added. So what is an extent? Extent is a basic allocation unit. Extent is nothing but a basic allocation unit of a data file or SQL Server. Basic allocation unit of a SQL Server is called an extent. Extent is nothing but collection of 8 continuous data pages. Extent is nothing but collection of 8 continuous data pages. Means one extent is nothing but two definitions. Extent is basic allocation unit, allocate, and it's also like a collection of 8 continuous data pages. So can anyone tell me what is the size of the extent?
64 KB.
64, 8 pages, right? Extent is nothing but collection of 8 pages. So each page size is 8 KB. So 8 pages means 8 into 8 KB, which is 64 KB. Extent size is 64 KB. So what SQL Server will do? We have two types of extents. One is uniform extent. Second one is mixed extent. What is this uniform extent and mixed extent, guys? Okay. Uniform extent means all the 8 pages belongs to same extent, that is called your uniform extent, means all the 8 pages will be allocated to the same table. Okay, let me show you a picture extents in SQL Server. This is your page structure. If you go inside the page, this is how the page structure will be. Go inside the page. If you go inside the page, this is your page structure. Okay, page will have page header, data row, records will be there. Okay, and this is your free space in the page, and this is called your row offset, guys. So row offset. Okay, so if you see here, you can see this is your page header of the page, guys. Okay, which is 96 bytes. Okay, page size is 8 KB, right? 8 KB means what? KB means what? KB means what?
Kilobytes.
Kilobytes. How many kilobytes is equal to 1 KB? How many bytes is equal to 1 KB, guys?
1024.
1024 bytes is equal to 1 KB. Okay, 1024 KB is equal to
1 MB.
yes, 1 MB. 1 MB. 1024 MB is equal to
1 GB.
very good. 1024 GB is equal to
1 TB.
1 terabyte. 1024 terabytes is equal to 1
Gigabyte.
1
Peta.
Gigabyte.
gigabyte. Then what is this GB?
No, peta, I think. Peta.
Petabyte, PBs, petabytes. 1024 PB is equal to, of course, we don't go beyond this terabytes. 1024 petabytes is equal to 1 hexabyte,
HB.
octabyte. Okay, so like that we can go, guys. So sometimes we can see the file sizes like this, KB. Okay, now tell me, guys, convert into MB or GB or TB. Tell me. Sometimes, why? Because this is very important, guys. As a DBA, will see big files like this, so you should calculate with your mouth. Okay, you should calculate. Simply you have to calculate. You cannot use converter and again you have to use the converter and by 1024 by 1024, not like that. Simply you have to identify the size of this file. How to identify? Big files will be there. How to identify? Simply, so you have to differentiate three numbers. Three numbers you have to differentiate. Okay, if you see here, units, tens, hundreds, right? 8 KB, 48 KB, 348 KB. After KBs, what will get, guys? After KBs, MB. Imagine 1 MB. Imagine, even though that is 0 MB, let it be 1 MB. Okay, 1 MB, 40 MB, 340 MB. Next, after MBs, GBs, 5 GB, 85 GB. Imagine one is there, 185 GB. Next, after GBs, terabytes, 3 TB, 43 TB. The size of the file is 43 TB. In that way, you have to easily calculate. It's approximately 43 TB, guys. It shouldn't be 43 TB. It should be more, but approximately it will be 43 terabytes of the file. Okay, clear? This is how you have to calculate the file size. Okay, in a simple way, guys. Chalo. So now if you see here, a page is like 8 KB, right? 8 KB means 1024. 8 into 1024, 8192 bytes, you will get it. Okay, if you have doubts, calculates calci 8 KB. Each KB is equal to 1024 bytes. 8 into 1024 bytes, sorry, 8192 bytes. So page, if you go inside the page size is 8192 bytes. Out of this 8192, page header will occupy 96 bytes. Your row offset is nothing but address, guys. Each record address will be stored in the row offset. First record address, second record address, third record address. So when you want to pull any record First SQL server will go to the page and it will search the address of each record, and exactly it will go to that particular record, guys. That's how the files will be organized, the records will be organized. So row offset will take 36 bytes. So 96 plus 36 bytes, how much it will be? 132 bytes. If you subtract 8192 minus 132, it will be 8060. So in every page you can save 8060 bytes of data. If you don't understand, leave it. No issues. No one will ask all these things and all. These are the internals. Okay. Chalo. Now if you see the extent, this is your extent, guys. If you see here, you can see there are two types of extents. I told you, right? There are two types of extent. One is your mixed extent, another one is your uniform extent. So what is your uniform extent, what is your mixed extent will do? What is the difference between these two? Right, if you see here, uniform extent, let's discuss about the uniform extent first. 8 pages, right? If you see here, 8 pages. Okay, if you calculate, okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 pages. Okay, 8 pages. And if you see all these 8 pages, table 1 is storing, means uniform, name itself is saying uniform extent. All the 8 pages belongs to a single table is called uniform extent. All the 8 pages, imagine if your employee table is there, all the 8 pages in that extent belongs to employee table, so that is your uniform extent. What is mixed extent then? So all the 8 pages belongs to different objects is called mixed extent. If all the pages belongs to a single object, that is uniform extent. If all the pages belongs to different objects, that will be your mixed extent. See, table 1, table 2, table 3, index 1, index means each page belongs to each object. That is your mixed extent. Guys, can anyone tell me on a uniform extent how many tables I can store? Logical question. In one uniform,
Only one.
how many tables I can store? Tell me, guys, guess it. In one uniform extent, how many tables I can store? Sorry?
8.
8, huh?
One,
8 tables or 1 table?
Yes,
What is the answer?
One table. One table.
one.
So uniform is nothing but, you can see here, right? Table 1, table 1, table 1, table 1, table 1, table 1, table 1. All 8 pages belongs to a single object. That is called your uniform extent. So how many tables we can create? Only one table. If you are creating 8 tables, each page will be allocated to a single different tables, 8 tables. Different pages, different tables means that is your uniform extent. So in the uniform extents, how many maximum tables we can create?
One.
One, huh? For everything one only, na? Then what is the difference between mixed and uniform extent?
Different objects there.
How many maximum tables I can create in mixed extent? Each page will be allocated to a single table. How many maximum tables I can create for mixed extent?
8.
8, guys. 8. In mixed extent maximum I can create 8 tables. In uniform extent maximum I can create 1 table. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Everyone. Mixed extent is nothing but all the 8 pages belongs to 8 objects. Uniform extent is nothing but all the 8 pages belongs to a single object. I cannot create multiple tables in the uniform extent. Why? Because the pages are allocated to a single table. Only that table has to utilize all those 8 pages. If this extent is full, SQL server will allocate one more 64 KB extent. SQL server will allocate one more 64 KB extent. So last time I told you, right? So when the page is full, SQL server will allocate another page. Actually, SQL server will allocate another extent for you guys. Another extent for you. Okay, if the extent is full, SQL server will allocate another extents. That's all about your extents, guys. Any questions, any doubts, please?
Sir, what are the indexes? Like how
We'll
index
discuss
works?
in the performance tuning.
Okay.
As of now, index is one object. Okay. What is index, what it will do, we'll discuss in the performance tuning.
All right.
Chalo, right? So that is your extent, guys. So if you go inside the data files, you can see extents. If you go inside the extents, you can see pages. Okay. So they will ask you guys sometimes how many types of pages are there. They will ask you in the interview. So how many types of pages? Okay. Data page, system page. Data pages, system pages. In the data page, we have data page, index page, text or image page. In the system pages, we have GAM page, global allocation map, SGAM page, shared global allocation map, PFS page, page free space, IAM page, index allocation map, DCM page, differential changed map, BCM page, bulk changed map. These are different pages will be used to store the metadata. These pages will be used to store the data. These pages will be used to store the metadata. We are not going to discuss about these pages. I have already gave you a document. Go through it just for an idea, guys. Okay, no one will ask you. They might ask you how many pages are there, but no one will ask you what each page will do. We'll discuss about this DCM page. Still, if you want to learn, okay, just go through the document that I gave you, or else go through my old videos. There you can see about each page. Okay. Right? Chalo, fine. So now let's discuss what data file will do, what log file will do, why we need two files. Why we need two files. I told you in the beginning of our session we discussed about RAM and CPU, right? What RAM will do, what CPU will do generally. RAM will store the results temporarily, right? Until the data is going to be processed completely, the temporary results will be stored in the RAM, right? Imagine I have one database. So when you create a database, automatically log file will be created and data file will be created automatically. Okay. So now listen carefully, guys. Now listen carefully. Right. Okay. So now let's discuss this one, guys. Okay. This is my Windows machine. Okay. This is my Windows machine. Right. This is my SQL server. Not MySQL, MS SQL. Okay. This is the SQL server. Or else let me go like this. Okay. Let me delete. This is the SQL server. In the Windows machine, we installed SQL server. Okay. So in the SQL server, we will have databases, right? Database. Imagine this is the database. This is one database. So when you create a database, okay, so imagine this is one hard disk. Right. Right. Imagine these are the two hard disks, guys. Two hard disks. Hard disk will be there in the OS level, right? Windows. Right. So when you create, generally what we can do when you create a database, two files will be created. These two files, what I'll do, let this drive. Okay, I'll remove this drive. Okay, so these two files will be stored in one drive. Imagine this is your C drive. This is your database. When you create a database, two files will get, right? We'll get two files, right? So in the two file, one is data file, one is log file. So the application, whatever data is there, okay, gear symbol. Generally, your application will be connected to the database. Okay, your application will be connected to the database. Imagine if it is amazon.com, your amazon.com application will be connected to this database. Okay, your amazon.com will be connected to this database, guys. So now data is coming from this application amazon.in. Right. Data is coming from the application to the database. Data is coming. So first the data will be written to the log file, guys. Okay, whatever transactions you are inserting, these data files and log files will be there in the data drive. Okay, drive, guys. Okay, and let me add some text like select so let me tell you 1 comma employee something like Suresh comma is from Hyderabad. Okay, like that. This is the data. Or you are buying something from the Amazon. Okay, first product you are buying trimmer, guys, trimmer. Okay, and the cost is 4,000. Right. So now you bought one record, bought one item. So when you place the order, the record will go like this, 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 like this. It will go to the database. So first the record will go to the log file. First the record will go to the log file. This is your log file. Okay, this is your log file. Okay, from your application, your data will go to the log file like this. Listen carefully. So now like you, lot of people will purchase items, right? Lot of people will purchase items. Millions in 1 second, millions of transactions will run, right? Not only you are just buying a trimmer, like that lot of people will purchase lot of things. Means lot of records will be generated from the application. All the records will be moved to the log file. Guys, listen carefully. First all the records will be moved to the log files. You can say transaction. This is called a transaction. Okay, this is one transaction. So first the transaction will be moved from your application to the database log file. Log file is a temporary storage area. Why we will store the data in the log file temporarily? Why? Because imagine millions of transactions are coming, guys. 1 lakh people in this 5 minutes, 1 lakh people bought some items. So all the 1 lakh items, all the 1 lakh records, it cannot write to the data file, right? Imagine this is my data file. Okay, these two files will be there in the drive, guys. This file and this file will be there in the drive. Just to explain clearly, I just came out, like I just pulled outside. So when the transaction is committed, see here, there are two types of transactions: committed transaction, uncommitted transaction. Committed transaction and uncommitted transaction. So when the transaction is committed, this record will be moved from here, the log file, the record will be truncated and it will be moved to the data file. It will be moved to the data file. Okay. Can you see the record on the log file, guys? 1 minute. Why I am not getting on this? Let me delete this. Let me re-add this. I cannot get it on this.
Bring to front.
Bring to front. Bring forward. Bring to front. Okay. Thank you. Right. Okay. Chalo. See, now the record is deleted from the log file and it will be moved to the data file. This is your data file, guys. What is this? This is your data file. The record is moved to it is deleted from the log file and it will be written to the data file. Data file is a permanent storage area. Log file is a temporary storage area. Okay, guys. Data file is a permanent storage area, whereas your log file is a temporary storage area. So until the data is written to the disk, the data will be stored in the log file temporarily. The data will be stored in the log file temporarily. Once the data is written to the data file, the transaction will be deleted from the log file. So in this way, so that it has to be deleted, then only it can pull other transactions, it can store other transactions inside the log file. Why it will do like that? Why? Because imagine 1 lakh transactions are there. All 1 lakh transactions you cannot directly return to the data file. To write 1 lakh transactions, it will take 5 minutes or 10 minutes, right? At least it will take 10 minutes or 5 minutes. How much? At least it will take some time, right? So in between, if someone rebooted the server, if server is crashed, if database is crashed, if drive is crashed, there are a lot of challenges. You are going to lose the data. Your tremor record will be deleted. So Amazon don't deliver the tremor to you. Next time you don't buy any product from the Amazon. Right? So now what you will do? What SQL Server organize? How SQL Server will be organized? It will keep it in a temporary file. Why? Until the data is going to be written to the data file. Once the data is written to the data file permanently, it will be stored in the drive. Once the data is stored in the drive, even though you restart the SQL Server, even though the database is corrupted, even though something happened and someone rebooted the Windows machine, still data is there in the data file. So the data will be stored permanently. So that's why we'll use two files concept, guys. Is it clear, everyone? Any
Yes,
doubts? Any doubts, guys? That is the main usage of the log file and data file. That's why when you create a database, by default you will get a log file and a data file, guys. Can I create a database without log file? Can I create a database without log file? Or can I create a database without data file? No, not possible.
No.
Not at all possible. By default you will get these two files, guys. Okay, so that is how the SQL Server is going to organize the things. So now let's create a database. Okay, so in the evening session I'll show you how to create a table. Now let's create a database. Creating database is very easy. You can create in two ways. One is GUI way, second one is query method. So GUI way means right click, new database, and you can give the database name here. Okay, imagine I'm going to create one database called Amazon database. Owner means those who are creating, who is going to own this object database is the owner. So generally, if you don't set this owner, who is creating the database? Who is creating the database? Can anyone tell me? Now who is creating the database, guys? Administrator. If no one is claiming this object, if no one wants to become owner of this object, then who is creating the database? He will become the owner. Means administrator is the owner of the database if you set default. Sir, generally in the organization, who will be the owner? SA. Can you give me one ice cream, please? Thank you. Right. Okay. So generally, who will be the owner of the database or any object, guys? SA. SA will be the owner of the any object like databases, jobs and all. The correct method is you have to change the owner to SA. But if you don't change the owner to SA, if you keep it as a default, nothing will happen. Those who is creating the database, he will become, who is creating, administrator is creating the database. So who will be the owner of this database? Administrator. If you see here, Amazon, let me remove this Amazon. See the changes here, logical names. Let me remove this. Now I am changing to batch 49. See how the files will be created. If I am changing to Flipkart, like this is Flipkart data file, this is Flipkart log file. So if you want to create a database, two files should be created, right? So the files will be existed in what? Where these files will be existed? Where these files will be existed, guys? In
the
file
database.
group, in the file group. Okay. Physical hierarchy, SQL Server, inside SQL Server databases, inside databases file groups and log file, inside log file, inside file groups data files, inside data file you will have your what is that extents, inside extents you will have pages. Let me check whether I have that diagram. I just draw one diagram, guys. Okay. Okay. One minute. D.
Shenmukh, in one server, how many databases can be?
Yesterday we discussed, right? 32,767. I'll tell you. Okay, so we can create 32,767 is a magic number. Okay, so we can create 32,767 databases, 32,767 logins, 32,767 users, 32,767 files, 32,767 file groups. Okay, so most of the objects, the answer is 32,767.
Okay.
SQL DBA demo. Let me check where is the diagram, desktop, demo. SQL DBA demo. One minute, I'm checking that one. Okay. Just 1 minute, guys. Right. Right. Okay, not this one, guys. Transaction log file, virtual log file, base inside extents inside database. Yeah. So if you see here, guys, can you see my screen? Yeah. Now you can see, right? So if you see here, this is your, this orange color is your SQL server. Inside SQL server, you have instances. Instances is a collection of collection of SQL server, right? Instance is nothing but one SQL server. If you go inside the instance, databases will be there, yellow color. So if you go inside the database, your file groups and log files will be there. Guys, log files doesn't belongs to any file group. Okay, if you go inside the database, you will have your file groups and log files. File groups and log files. Log files doesn't belongs to any file group, guys. Those log files will exist separately. If you go inside the file groups, you will have data files. Okay, this is your data file. So there are two types of data files: MDF file, master data file, and NDF file. Next are new data file. Okay, so when you create a database, first a file group will be created and log file will be created. If you go inside the file group, data file will be created. Data file MDF. By default, MDF and LDF will be created for a database. If one data file is not sufficient, guys, can we add another data file to the database? One data file is not sufficient. Can we add another data file?
Yes, sir.
If one log file is not sufficient, can we add another log file?
No.
No.
No?
Yes, sir.
Yes? No?
Yes, we can.
No.
No? Yes? No or yes, guys?
No.
Who, Kishore? Why that much confident, Kishore?
Yes, sir. Nena.
Okay, done. Okay, so I'll tell you. Okay, so we can create multiple data files at any time. Okay, so if you want me to show you, I'll show you. Let me go to this. Let me what I can do. Let me not clear all diagrams. Okay, and close this one. Right. Let me hide. Let it be no issues. So if you see here, I can create multiple data files. See, click on add button. While creating the database also I can create multiple data files. After creation of database, later after 1 year, 2 years, okay, after creation of database also I can add extra data files. But can we add log files? How to add data files? Click on add button, guys. Okay, click on add button. So automatically one data file will be added. So if you see here, this is Flipkart. I have to give the name. Okay, F2 file 2. So now if you see here, if you expand this column, this is your rows data. So if you see here, there is an option called log. Okay, so I can add extra log files also. It's not like only one log file, but the recommended practice in the organization is we'll use only one log file. It's not, that doesn't mean you can create only one log file to the database. You can create multiple data files, multiple log files also. But we will follow multiple data files option in the organization. We don't recommend to create multiple log files as it is going to create some concurrency. So that's why we don't recommend to create multiple log files. So generally we can create multiple data files and multiple log files. It will allow us, but that is not a recommended practice. Okay. So you can, if you want to create data file, select the rows data. And when you choose, see, when you choose log file, it is showing not applicable. When you choose data file, it is showing primary. What is this primary, guys? What is this primary? This is a file group. So primary is the default file group. You will get it. I told you, right, SQL Server cannot exist without files. Files cannot exist without file groups. So that's why SQL Server, when you create a database, SQL Server will automatically create a primary file group. In that it will add the MDF data file. If MDF is not sufficient for you, you can add another data file, next or new data file. If you go inside the data files, you can see extents, which is collection of 8 pages. If you go inside the extent, you can see all the 8 pages, 8 KB, 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 8 KB. And this is how the SQL Server will organize the objects, guys. Is it clear? Any questions, any doubts? Right? So now I don't want to create a file, extra file. Now I'll remove it just to show you I created.
Yeah,
And
one
if-
more.
Yes, please.
We have created Flipkart too, right?
Hmm.
Then that extension of that file will be NDF. Huh?
Only one MDF file will be there. Okay. So when you create a database, automatically MDF file will be created. So you cannot create another MDF master data file or metadata file. So you cannot add one more MDF. You can add NDF. So when you add second data file, the extension would be .ndf, next data file.
Can be seen in this path, right?
We can.
Extension. Okay.
We can. Okay, clear? Right, options and all, we don't change anything, guys. We don't change any options, keep it as it is. File groups, if you want to create extra file group, I can still create. See, this is the primary file group. In this file group, one file is there. Can anyone tell me what is this file? What is this file?
Data.
MDF file. Your MDF file. If I want to create another file group, I can create one more file group. Okay, this is your file group FG2, FG2. And if you go to here, next time I'm adding, I want to add specifically this data file in another file group, Flipkart F2 file 2. I want to add in FG2, select this one, select this file group. Automatically this file will be stored in another file group. This you can store in any other drive. Okay, right? This is how generally you can add the file groups and files, guys. So every file will have a size that is called initial size. Initially SQL Server will give you 8 MB file, 8 MB, not 8 KB. Page is different, file size is different. Okay, so 8 MB file. If you want, I don't want 8 MB, I want more, you can edit it. You can make it as 800 MB also, or 8000 MB also, no issues. Any log file size, data file size, you can edit it. And once this 8 MB file is full, what it has to do? It has to grow automatically, right? So that is your auto growth option. Once 8 MB file is full, it cannot stop it. If the file is full, if you don't enable auto growth, once 8 MB file is full, the data file will be full. So in case in any of the drive there is no free space, can you copy the files? Can you write anything to the drive? If there is no free space, not possible, right? So if the data file is full, your application will be down. Why? Because there is no free space to write the data. Where it is going to write the data? There is no free space. So that's why what it will do, we can enable auto growth during that execution, during the creation. After creation also we can enable. So auto growth, if the 8 MB is full, how the files has to grow automatically? Why? Because we'll manage thousands of databases. Each database will have multiple data files. So how to manage these things? So initially itself will add this auto growth. So next time if the file is full, no need to take any action from DBA side. As our auto growth option is enabled, automatically the file will grow. From where it will grow? From C drive. You are saving the files in C drive, right? From C drive it will grow. How it will grow? In percentage you want? Okay. In percentage, 50%. Can you tell me if 8 MB is full, what will be my new file size? 8 MB is full, auto growth is enabled, automatically it will
12.
grow. So what will be the new file size, guys?
12.
Are you sure?
12 MB.
Are you sure? Yes, sir. It sounds like you have a doubt.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So answer is yes, 12 MB. Once 8 MB is full, 50% of 8 MB is 4 MB. 8 plus 4, 12 MB is the new file size. If that is full, 12 MB is full, what will be the new file size?
18.
18. 12 by 2, 6 MB. 12 plus 6, 18 MB. Like that it will keep growing. Until what point it will grow? Until what point it will grow, guys? Until there is a free space in the C drive. Means 11 GB. Once this 11 GB is full, the drive is full. So if the drive is full, what we have to do? We have to request Windows team to extend the drive. That's how we'll manage the files in the organization. If you choose in megabytes, if you gave 1000 megabytes, what will be the new file size, guys? If the 8 MB is full, what will be the new file size?
1500.
100. Tell me, guys, I'm giving you one logical question. Tell me,
Oh.
okay, the answer. If 8 MB is full, and if you choose in megabytes, and if you give 1000, what will be my new file size?
1008.
Yeah, it's not
That's
percent,
it.
right?
That's it. It's not percent. If you give percent,
Right.
then it will be you are giving directly. You are adding 1000 MB. So 1000 plus 8, 1008 MB. Like that maximum, do you want me to limit the file size? No, you cannot limit it. If you limit it, the data won't grow, the application will be down. It should be unlimited. Unlimited till there is a free space in the drive. Okay, fine. So that's how auto growth will work, guys. Auto growth should be enabled. By default, it will be enabled, but some organization they will choose in percentage, they will keep it as 50% or 10%, 20%. Some organization they will keep in bytes, in megabytes, they will add 1000 MB or 1024 MB. Based on the figure that you gave here, automatically it will calculate. So this is the path I don't want to store in the C drive. Can I change it? Yes, we can change it to D drive, E drive, F drive, whatever drives you have. As of now, I don't have any drives. So I cannot change. D drive is not a fixed drive. I cannot use this fixed drive. I cannot use this D drive. If you have fixed E drive, F drive and all like C drive, you can change the path to another drive also. Right? And you just click OK. And if you script out, guys, whatever actions you are doing, you can script out, guys, using script option. Click on script button, it will script out. You can see how to create a database using the script. I am clicking OK now. Okay, when you click OK, you can see Flipkart database is created. But see here, how much big script is there? How much big script is there to create a database? Create database, Flipkart, containment type. See how much big script is there to create a database. Okay, it will create. I actually added one extra file, right? So now if you go and check the physical path, if you go inside C drive, program files, Microsoft SQL Server, instance root directory, your MS SQL folder, your data folder, see Flipkart data file, Flipkart data file 2, second data file, Flipkart log file. 3 files came. When you create a database, right click new database, Amazon. This time I don't explain anything, directly I'll create. See how simply we can create database. AMAZYN, Amazon, just hit enter. That's it, Amazon database is created. I didn't add any files to the Amazon database, right? So you can see only 2 files, Amazon data file, Amazon log file. But while creating Flipkart, I have added one data file, so that's why you can see third file. So if you want to see the extension, right click of the file, go to the extension properties, and you can see .mdf file. Okay, and if you want to see the log file extension, right click, go to the properties, and you can see .ldf file. And if you want to see another data file extension, Flipkart another data file, right click, and if you see the properties, .ndf file. Okay, so like this, how many files I can add to a database, guys? How many files I can add to a database? How many files I can add to a particular database, to a single database?
As many we want.
Huh? As many we want.
32,767.
32, just now we discussed it, right? 32,767 databases, 32,767 files, 32,767 file groups, 32,767 logins, 32,767 users. Okay, so not like as many as we want. If the interviewer is asking like that, we cannot answer like that. Okay, 32,767. Okay, chalo, that's all. Yes, please.
Small question, that this number which you saying again and again, like give us like from where that number come from? 32,767.
That number came from 64-bit operating system. Okay, if you calculate 2 power 64, that number will come. As it is a 64-bit operating systems, 64-bit SQL servers you are using, mostly like earlier in the early of the like 90s or 80s when system is invented. So people are used to like they are going to they used 32-bit operating systems. Okay, so later it was changed to 64-bit operating systems. Now all the operating systems are 64-bit only. So if you calculate 2 power 64 something like that, okay, I'm not sure about it, but I guess it's so. So like the answer will be 32,767. You will get it. Okay.
Okay.
No.
So, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so that's how you can create GUI, guys. But for command, what is the command to create a database? Okay, so this will be discussed in the evening session. Okay, thank you, guys. We'll connect in the evening at 7 p.m. IST. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.